are cool, but it's usually the weird ones that stand out over time. These are my top 10 unconventional bosses in games. While many of these are RPGs, there are some golden bosses in other games which place them as legendary. Now there are some spoilers ahead, and I've placed a spoilers stamp when they come up. These are mainly spoilers for plot-related things and not so much to reveal the boss. So let's get going. Number 10, Star Fox 64, Macbeth. In this game, there are many unique planets with fairly interesting boss fights. One that stands out from being different and also frustrating is Macbeth. Yes, that is his name. Who is attached to the end of a train on the planet Macbeth. Confused? Yeah, we all are. Anyways, for this boss fight, you follow the railway and shoot switches along the way. There are 8 in total, some hidden behind mechanical doors or completely off to the side, making it hard to predict where they are unless you've memorized the placement of each switch. At the end, you either miss the switches and have to fight him as a normal boss, or if you were lucky and got all the switches, you are rewarded with an easy boss finish, which was pretty cool at the time this game came out.
Step on the gas. Good going, Buck. No! Hit the brake! I can't stop it!
Number 9, Kudelka, Elena. I came into playing this game fairly late, and yet it still managed to surprise me with its final boss fight. Elena is a poor woman who is subject to a demonic revival and is now a monster. She has several forms as you go up this winding staircase to escape her, getting insanely powerful near the end. Now, while this was a rewarding challenge when you defeat this tough boss, it's actually not the right thing to do. The trick for this game is to lose during the final form Elena takes in order to get the true canon ending. Lose against the final boss? Yep, it's a strange feeling when you do it, as it feels wrong when you end up killing one of the main characters. Yay.
Fate, if it is your wish, then I accept my fate. He who has an ear, let him hear. If anyone is to go into captivity he will go. If anyone is to be killed with the sword he will be killed. I am what I am content with my lot!
Number 8, Super Mario RPG, Bowyer. A cute and fun game. You come across Bowyer, or Bowyer, I don't know. Bowyer, we'll just say Bowyer, in the forest maze, the place where the sweet music plays. In this game, you use each controller button to perform a different action. A is attack, B is defend or escape, Y is a special move, and X is use item. When you fight Bowyer, he has these button blocks in front of him, which he will lock with an arrow, disabling that button. If you go to select that button from the menu, it will not come up, and you'll have to resort to using a different tactic. I was fairly young when I played this game, and I always thought this boss was cool because he forced you out of your comfort zone. Number 7, Okami, Ninetales. The major antagonists of the second arc of Okami was a fun one. Throughout the game, you gather new abilities using your magic ink to summon forth powers. You can cut things in half, bring forth a large gust of wind, link fire, you could do anything. Then comes along the nine-tailed fox who, when you fight them, can cancel your ink powers if you take too long performing them, interrupting the screen where you paint all your symbols and erasing any possible attacks you throw at it. It's jarring when it happens as you see your little private screen get invaded by this boss, something side that was only yours to touch and manipulate. It adds a bit more urgency to your techniques and reduces your reliance on the otherworldly abilities, which is really cool. Number 6. Atrian Odyssey, Random Joining in Bosses. One of the more frustrating things in this hellish game. Atrian Odyssey had a very cool mechanic that if there was another enemy blip nearby on the map you traveled through, it had the ability to join fights you were already engaged in. Each move you made on the map moved an enemy blip. The same rule was applied in fights, where one round of fighting would allow one movement for enemies outside the fight until they reached your location. The best example of this horrifying mechanic was the Fenris boss, which was fairly early on in the game. This boss sat in the middle of an arena, and there were several mini wolves that would enter the fight almost every goddamn round. It was a fucking nightmare. With the need to be fast at killing the enemy, there was also the fear of being overwhelmed as each round introduced a new enemy. This made you sort through many tactics in order to successfully manage and destroy the boss and its minions. Cool mechanic after the fact, but holy hell was it terrifying. Number 5. Demon Souls, False King Alant. One of the hard things to learn in any Souls game is to stay alive, and if you die, get your damn souls back so you can get stronger and defeat whatever killed you in the first place. So what if I told you that one of the end game bosses had the ability to lower your level mid-fight? Well, that's exactly what the False King Alant can do. While it is frustrating to lose levels, it's the hidden negative repercussions it can cause. Say you leveled up just enough to wear a certain set of armor, or wield a certain weapon, and he takes a level away. Yep, you guessed it, you will lose the ability to use the weapon effectively, making your attacks next to useless. Do you really have time to search through your inventory to replace your weapon with a shit one, or reduce your armor weight in order to roll more effectively? No. You'll get owned. Even after you eventually die, you have to grind to get back the chance to use the weapon again. You lose all around. Number 4. Hunting Ground, Pursuers. Hunting Ground, an offshoot of the Clock Tower series, can speak for the series in that the bosses in this game are very unique. For the most part, you hardly have any weapons to fight off your pursuer. In Hunting Ground, you have Huey, a white German shepherd dog that you can send off to attack, perform feats, and solve really frustrating puzzles when he feels like it. All of the earlier bosses you encounter have unique distractions or quirks that you can exploit in order to gain the upper hand. Debilitas is often distracted by childish things, such as toys and dolls. Daniela, on the other hand, hates herself, so mirrors and other reflective surfaces make her scream out in terror until she shatters the object. There's usually a big confrontation or boss fight at the end of each chapter, often making you perform unusual tasks in order to defeat them. In Daniela's case, you must move 4 pillars into their respective slots in order to illuminate the center. You then lure her into it, and that's it. While these kind of bosses can be annoying, as they're always lurking around and can find you at any given moment, they're still really fun. Number 3. Undertale, Flowery Boss. game took many people by storm, showing the simple yet intense story and gameplay it gave to gamers. The battle system in itself is unique with every boss you encounter, changing the mechanics to fit the boss and make it a different experience. Nothing could prepare gamers for the flowery boss fight. The small, innocent-looking flower that you meet at the beginning of the game that has a clear evil side to him. If you acquire the neutral path, you will square off with Flowery, who reveals that he has the same game-saving and loading abilities as you, the player. During the fight, he will randomly mess with the game, closing the window, reloading seconds before you dodge one of his moves. It is a mindfuck. There's so much happening, it is hard to focus on what you're even seeing, or if you die, or if you remember what happened the moment before he starts loading something. You even start to doubt that you can defeat him. It's very well done in that it destroys your safety and knowledge and makes you struggle. One of the greatest bosses in recent times in that regard. Number 2, Earthbound Gygus. Much like Undertale, in that the game was inspired by Earthbound, this game holds the earliest messed up boss fight in gaming. Throughout the game, you can feel Gygus around you. There's this sense of presence, even though it's not physically there on the screen. That in itself is creepy. It's when you actually fight with the villain that you begin to realize how useless you are. Your attacks do nothing. They are completely useless, save for the option to use the Prey ability to call out to your friends on Earth. That little thing manages to subdue Gygus. While it's a simple thing, it is definitely unconventional, seeing as the rest of the game does not mirror that. While it may not violate your senses like Flowery, there are many disturbing things about the villain, from the noise to visuals that it produces. These alone have stemmed many debates on what it is. Are there fetuses in Gygus, for example? It's pretty cool. Number 1, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater, The End.
Hello?
While many people know about the unique way to ending the end, there are so many different layers to this boss fight that makes it amazing. The tidbit many people know about fighting the end is that he's an old man close to death. If you leave the game and come back a week later in real time, you will find him unresponsive, discovering that he passed away from natural causes as he lies in wait for you. You will be rewarded with a special cutscene, and you can be on your merry way. If you don't do that, prepare your ass for a tough fight. This 100-year-old sniper uses the environment to his advantage, and I cannot stress that enough. You can end up spending hours crawling and planning your move, trying to outmaneuver him, or even just try and pinpoint his location. You have 3 large maps that are open for you to explore, all the while having him snipe at you from God knows where! You will use various gadgets to look through the thick jungle, and even if you find out where he is, he will run away to a new hiding spot, usually aiming at where you have gone to confront him. One thing that is super cool is that you can use the directional microphone to figure out where he is in the next map, as you can hear him breathing. But you can also run into him as you transition to the next area, have him take a cheap hit, and then relocate to a random location. There's also the option to release his pet parrot earlier in the game, which gives him away as you can hear the squawking. Other than that, get good at being sneaky.